Good morning. Welcome to the Coffee Break Show. It's brought to you by the Metadime Digital Network. And today we're going to rock your world. I'll be back in a second. I'm Vickie Helm, and today I have with me Guy Bauer, and we're going to be talking about something that I actually am so wicked interested in. I almost didn't want to bring him on the show. I wanted to talk to him privately by myself and go, let's talk video. Now, I want to welcome you to the Coffee Break Show. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Vickie.
All right. So today I want to talk first off about the power of video, because right now video is everywhere, but it's kind of divided into two things. There's live video, and somehow your microphone went mute, but I just want to let you know. So there's live video, and then there's production type video. And do you have a preference for each? Which one do you think is better? And which one would you tell people to do? You're still muted right now. I'm not sure what to do about that mute there. You should have below there some mute. Talk to me and see if your video is there. There we go. It's now unmuted. Can you hear me there, Guy? We are now having technical difficulties, which has never happened on this show. But I want you to know, when he comes back, we're going to go right back to it. And it's this kind of month where, if that thing, can you talk to me and see if you can hear it? I can hear you now. Nope, nothing. It was funny.
Yeah?
There we go.
Okay.
I heard something. There we go. I heard him now. Thank you for that. Welcome
Cool.
back.
Thanks.
This is the thing about live show. Live show is authenticity in action. Live show is right here. This is why I like live show. There's no syndicating the message. There's no changing it. It is what it is when it happens in the moment. So going back, I want to talk about live show or developed or show. Which one do you prefer? Do you think there's a place for both of them? Which of those things do you think is best right now?
Well, I think video is a medium that encompasses many different types of, delivery mechanisms. And it's, in the truest sense, where I guess if you break down what video is, all video is a visual stream combined with an audio stream. And so, the kind of video ads that my agency makes are all like kind of high value or high production value commercials. But we use video, like in all of its forms in our agency to market ourselves and even communicate with clients. So asynchronous video messaging through Loom or Vimeo or BombBomb. I mean, that's just a way to communicate to people where it's, an actual conversation that's happening offline. So there's a place for all forms, even StreamYard and Riverside.fm. I mean, all of these methods of video are great for their individual uses. It all really goes back to, well, what's your goal, right? And video is really just a medium that can be a tool to reach a goal. The most important thing is always to, think of your objectives first and then back into the kind of video you need. Or it could be another kind of asset too.
It's interesting what you're saying right now, because when we take a look at video and video messaging and things like that, first off, I want to let you know, this isn't just a video agency he's got going. This guy has decades in an industry as a professional, doing even corporate commercials and doing all kinds of videography and things like that. And I want you to say a little bit about the industry and why did you decide to go out on your own? What was the key impetus that you said, video as a business can feed my family and do everything? How did that start? And I want to welcome you guys. You know what? I see you guys putting your comments there. I thank you very much. Welcome to the show. Good morning, Vickie and Guy. Thank you for being here. And I like this. Great to see you, Lori. Nice to see you. Welcome, Guy. Thank you for being here. Listen, put your name down below. If you have questions for him, ask. He's here. This guy's got several decades of professionalism. I know I'm going to be asking the questions I want to know. So I want to go back to the question at hand. Let's talk about your experience. Let's talk about why you started your agency. You started it in 2010. So this is a guy who's got a lot of experience in this industry doing it. But what led you to this? How come you did this? And what do you want our listeners, like if you're on iHeartRadio, if you're listening anywhere, uh thank you. Yes, finally caught us live again. Here I am. Nice to see you, Lisa. Thank you. So what happens is everybody makes a decision sometime where they want to better something. And I know that your agency started a while ago. You're out there doing it ever since. What was your impetus? Why did you do that? And would you suggest somebody right now who's thinking of taking that leap? Would you suggest they do it? And what would you say to them?
All right. So back up into why I started this and how I did is that video has always been my hobby ever since the 7th grade. We had to make a project for our English class, and I had to do Ricky Tikki Tavi. And back then, you do a diorama or something. And I got this idea. My dad had this big VHS camcorder, and I was like, why don't we make a video? So we went in my backyard and had like a snake and a stuffed animal, and like they fought each other, and then we dubbed it with music. And like my entire 7th grade class, their mind was blown. This is the mid 90s where the tech did
Yeah,
not
yeah, yeah. How
exist.
cool was that?
And it was just like this moment of like, whoa, you can actually like entertain people with this. So video was always my hobby. I did it. I did a bunch of silly videos with my friends growing up. And but I got into production. I got into both TV and radio production. But then when the recession hit in 2008 and 9, I got
I
laid
remember.
off, and I just fell back on this hobby that I had been developing and this skill that I had been honing. And I started just hustling. My first job was for $50 to edit this guy's puppy video. And and then I just got a $70 job, a $100 job, and grew the business that way, making every single mistake a business person can make along the way, because that I have no formal training in business or the business of video or marketing or anything.
Bootstrap it, baby.
Yeah,
That learning curve.
yeah. So made every dumb mistake. Lost a bunch of money in 2018. Reformatted everything, and my if would I recommend someone to do this? Sure, yeah. Entrepreneurship though is like they would say, oh, you get to make your own hours, and I always say, yeah, you get to make them longer. Like,
The big lie.
yeah, you just work all the time, and even if you're not working, you're thinking about it. But I would have it no other way. I could never work for someone else again. I mean, I've been on my own for 12 years now, and so it would be hard for me to go to work for someone else at this point. But I
I
do
gotta
recommend.
I gotta say that that's true. I want to tell you something, Guy. I have done most everything in business that you can do. I built, several companies. I have 41 books out. And this year, the reason I find this conversation so frippin' interesting right now, just so interesting, is that at the beginning of the year, I always say, what do I want to learn? It's not just what are my goals? What do I want to hit these targets? Blah, blah, blah. I always say to myself, what skill set did I want to learn? And this year I picked video. I picked video in a big way. So when I started with it, I just thought, in the beginning, you take this out and you're like just doing it this way, et cetera, and figuring it out. But you talked earlier, just a second ago, about the story and the plot and the things like that you have to learn. And so, really, this has got to happen now. It's such a weird day. Anyway, so, and they're probably worried about the warranty on my car, but I promised them that it's okay. But so the thing is, when you begin to break out as a video, one of the things I want to learn is how to be in a documentary. One of the things that I noticed is storyline is everything, whether it's a 1 minute video and whether it is a documentary or 2 hour feature film or whatever it is. There seems to be the story first. Now, I feel like, I've spoke all over the world. I feel like I'm good on stage. But when I started this process, I realized there's a vast difference between speaking out of your mouth, writing a book, and writing to make somebody see and feel the visual path that you want to take them on.
Mhm.
My question is this: I'm looking for 3 tips from you that you say, okay, when you're making your visuals, like if you're looking to hire someone to do a video for you, and you say to them, you sit down with your client and you say, what's the message, or what's the process of getting that message on a piece of paper so it makes sense to the video person, so it makes sense to the audience as it's being made? Do you know what I'm asking?
Mhm. Yeah.
Great. That's where I want to go with that right now, because I mean, that to me is fascinating.
So 3 tips I would say is the first one is, it's all on the page. The video is made before you make the video. And the little trick is to uh, write things down. It's way cheaper to work on a Word document and edit,
Mhm.
re-edit, and re-edit than it is to reshoot. Um, so the first tip would be to make sure it's on the page. If it's not good on the page, then it's not going to be good once it's in its final form. For sure,
Yeah.
you can guarantee it. The next thing is to um, pre-visualize. So just because you have the words down now doesn't necessarily mean you know what it's going to look like. You can hire storyboard artists for pretty cheap. You can find them on Fiverr and all over
Wow.
the place, and they'll draw little thumbnails of your video that will help you like kind of see the shots. The idea is to make the video before you make the video. Make it on
Yes.
where it's like very cheap to revise and very low time. Uh, so, and then the third thing is to watch other people's stuff and
Yeah.
kind of pick and pull and, like take this thing you like from this spot and this thing you like from this spot and see what happens when you kind of combine them, and that's how you make new things. So it's all done. There's a common thing in my industry. They say fix it in pre-production.
Yes.
Don't fix it in post production. That's, you've already shot it. You have to edit the footage, the movie that you actually
Mhm.
shot, but try to do as much as possible before you've done it. If it gives you any kind of scale here is, so we just did a spot for our agency, and uh, I spent about 3 months in pre-production,
Thank
and
you.
to shoot it was only a day.
Yeah, yeah. But
So
getting that message right is so important. Yes, and you do it in pre-production. You start with a script and then you start with the storyboard?
actually, before you even go into scripting, what I do is premises, is just little log lines. So the other skill that I've kind of developed is your first idea isn't always the best.
That's
So
for sure.
yeah, so force yourself to have discipline. Um, so the very first thing, if we have a client project or a project for ourselves, is every day dedicate an hour to just coming up with premises, like just ideas, right? And it's a
Mhm.
very low friction, because it's just a sentence, and you could throw at anything, even if it's just a sentence fragment of an idea. Just write it down, and just every day do an hour and come up with ideas. And what's going to happen is on day 4, one of the ideas will hit, and it's going to blow your mind, like, oh yeah, that's great. But that only would come out because you did the previous 3 days. So the previous 3 days
Oh,
of writing aren't a waste. They needed to happen in order
yes.
for your brain to develop idea number 4. And it's very important to actually space this out with sleep. So I'm saying do an
Mhm.
hour a day for 5 days. You can't just do one 5-hour session. You actually have to separate it out by days, because as you go to sleep and as you take showers and as you live life, your subconscious is working, and it's kind of chewing on all the stuff that you've developed, and it's synthesizing and it's kind of like gelling, so that on day or 4 or 5, that's when the nugget comes out, and that's where the true the value is actually in all of the spots we make. The
Yeah,
value is always in that one sentence. That's like where
that's
90% of
right.
the value lies.
This is so interesting because last night I worked on a script and I wasn't happy with it. I'm happy with the premise of the thing I'm talking about, etc. And at 1 p.m., I finally said, okay, let's let it go and let something else simmer. And I love that you said that because I actually had to give myself permission to, chill. We have a question from the audience. I'd like you to meet Lori. Lori is a photographer, and actually, Guy, just so you're there, Lori's a professional photographer. She's been that way. She's done all my book covers, all my magazine covers, all everything. I have a new book coming out right now within a month that Lori shot the picture for, etc. She says, "Hi, Guy. I'd like to get into video, but the editing part feels a little overwhelming. Girlfriend, I'm with you. That is a something to learn. Even though I've got a lot of technical and photographic experience in my background, do you have a suggestion of what video editing software? Oh my God, such a great question. I have toyed with this. Would be good to start on. Just something basic and easy to use and cheap or free would be optimal. I want to let you know what I use, but I want to hear from him too, because oh my God, great question, Lori."
Yeah, so if you have Mac, I believe iMovie just comes with your Mac. I'm pretty
hmm
sure.
That's a
Uh,
free version. Yes, it does.
okay, and then I believe it used to be free or very low, but there's a thing called Adobe Premiere Elements if you have PC. I'm not sure if they still have that anymore, but I would do, iMovie on the Mac or some low form of Premiere Elements. Adobe. The other thing you could do is actually DaVinci Resolve is free, but a little complex. But if you take like an hour intro course on YouTube,
Yeah, Lori's
um,
wicked smart. She could get it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And DaVinci Resolve is cool because it comes with all the programs you need to make a video, from like editing to coloring to sound. It has everything on a bar on the bottom. It's a bigger learning curve than iMovie for sure.
Thank you for that. I think that's so important because some of the software, it's weird, Lori, because I want to let you know that I have done Adobe Pro. That's one that I've done that I really like. And I started on Camtasia because
Hmm.
Camtasia back then was super wicked easy. I'm a PC. She's a PC girl. Okay, so in the PC, I didn't know that, Lori. I thought you were a Mac girl. Suddenly I like you more. You're being a PC girl. Just kidding. Just kidding. All you Mac users, thank you for being here. But what I want to do is say for the PC, I use Camtasia is super inexpensive. I think I paid a couple of hundy for it, but you also have the iMovie or some sort of software that comes with the PC. But for me, what I'm enjoying, there's a lot of the learning curve when it comes to editing. And I find that editing is easier for me. And I'm going to go back to what he said earlier, easier for me when I do the editing pieces on the script thing first, because what I find is you can shoot a scene, is what they call it, or a story piece of it, then shoot the story piece of it. And then instead of editing this big long thing, I'm editing a piece and a piece and a piece. So I want to talk about, let's get some nitty gritty into this. So looks like Adobe Pro Elements is about 150 and available. Thank you for that. Thank you for that being in there. But we are now for PC users, whatever you want to do. So now I want to talk about all the stuff that's available to creators right now: story blocks, music, royalty free music, and everything else. And I want to talk about also shooting your own videos and being able to have a combination of, like, once you got the story in your mind, How do you begin to put that story together? And let's say specifically for a company, because I know this is what I'm thinking in my mind. If I were in your shoes, I was at your job, I would have to deal with people who are very frozen in their mind about what they see and how it should be
Mhm.
versus making a good piece of content. And there's got to be some flexibility. You said earlier, your first idea may not be your best idea.
Mhm.
And how does I don't know how to say it any different, but how does the ego play a role if you can step out of your way and view from the creator's eyes versus holding on to what you think is your idea? And you know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage, actually.
Yeah,
There's a couple, like an easy metaphor it's kind of like when you're flying and uh, there's a it's bumpy and you're landing
turbulence.
and there's wind and the plane is kind of like yawing.
Yeah.
And if you were to run up to the cockpit and give your advice on what to do, 99.9% you're wrong and you'd kill everyone on the plane if the pilots listened to you.
Yes.
And in the creative realm, if you're commissioning work, it's a little easier to give your feedback and no one's going to die. But you have to have fundamental trust and courage that the people you've hired
Beautiful.
have your best interest in mind. And the fact that they're in business can kind of prove that they haven't crashed, like that
Yeah.
they're doing good work for clients. So when you have this urge to not trust the creator you're working with, just remember that the reason why you hired them was the work in their portfolio, and that there was this initial, feeling that they would, do your work. And keep in mind that you haven't done their work for as long as
Yes.
they have. So they know stuff that you don't know.
Yes.
And just because it's potentially counterintuitive to you doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just because you don't have the skill set, which is why you hired them. So it's very hard to do, easier said than done. I commission work all the time, and I have to fight myself very, very
Yeah.
hard to just trust and let go and just trust the process. And like, just, even though I feel that maybe it's wrong, but I don't know what they know. So you have to be brave and trust somebody.
This is the creator's dilemma right here. I want to talk about that because, after 41 books, in the beginning, you always possess your work. You always think, I wrote this book. I wrote this book. I wrote this book. I'm finally somebody, blah, blah, blah. At the end, if you have really a lot of experience, you realize no project comes to life without a group of people, and you're just the lucky person who gets to put their name on the book. That's how that is. You get to put your name on it. And here's the thing, the second a book that you possess goes to an editor, you're letting go of the creative process and realizing that they are making that book better. They're making their ideas. Everything about that book is going to 10x in that. So maybe you have an idea for a video. When you put it in front of a video team, they're still in business, like he said, and that means they can do some things right. And what happens is, do you want your video to actually win, or do you want your video to be the concept you have in your head? And maybe you want both. I want it to win with the concept I have in my head. But most often, those two things don't match. I know it in a book. I know that when I write a book, I want what I say to win, but until it goes through the filter of other people going, you need to say more here. There's not enough here. This chapter should come first. This chapter should move back. This doesn't even make sense here. Until you get that feedback from people, you are too precious with your work. I love that you said that, Guy. So now, and listen, if you guys want to work with Guy, we're going to put everything in the show notes. So if you're on iHeartRadio, or you're listening on Audible Live, or if you're in Pandora, wherever you are, relax. We are this Roku TV, relax. We're going to have all of the description in the show notes below, and in the thread of this show on the channel. So just relax with that. And I want to let you know what is it that I think it's guybauer.com. What's a place that they can reach you at and say, this is my video, dude, I'm talking to him right now? What
Oh,
where can they go?
umalt.com.
Umalt. Tell
Yeah.
us about Umalt. And it's Umault, Umalt?
Yes,
And
we made it very difficult to pronounce and spell. I don't know why, but umault.com. And yeah, if you're, we specialize in B2B video ads. We really find that it's like a challenge. A lot of B2B services are pretty hard, complicated, and hard to understand. Usually has something to do with enterprise insights and technology and analytics and stuff. So it's
making that fun is hard.
exactly. And so we chose this niche because there's few competitors, I guess, either
Yeah.
brave or stupid enough to follow us. And
Mm.
yeah, and so and we've gotten really good at kind of understanding these complex businesses and then making fun stuff for them.
That's so interesting because I know that, I'm gonna go back to the '90s. That's, like, the last time I had any corporate experience at all, and I remember seeing those corporate videos and be yawning all the way through it. So, you're right, making those kinds of video, making them interesting, making them, engaging, etcetera, and I just like video. I'm fascinated by it now just the same way I was fascinated with writing books and doing what I do, or fascinated in this. But I'm telling you, moving forward, video is such a powerful tool. And the amount of people who watch or react or are participating in video right now is enormous. It's exploding. I mean, we have everything from the 15-second TikTok to feature films and everything in between those, etc. Now, here's what I know, Guy. I know that I have a hard time with a 15-second. I'm more verbose than a 15-second TikTok. And I've gotten down to the point where I can do a minute video or something. I have to talk fast. I'm forcing myself. I literally have a TikTok channel right now. It just begun. I'm forcing myself to learn how to condense what I'm saying so that my message is clear. And I'm forcing myself to look at how to make a script and then take that script down to really get the message and the meaning to the point where it is succinct and there isn't a lot of fluff or everything else. I'm not making a feature film, although I'd
Yeah.
be open to learning how to do that as well. And I want to know, what are some tips that you have for people when they are starting to write their script? I always make the first draft, I call it throwing up on paper.
Yeah.
Just put everything there. And when you throw up on paper and get your ideas, then back off and then come back and listen to yourself blather and then move stuff out. But what techniques do you have for, like, let's say a company comes up and they say, I want you to say this, and they have a 3 minutes that you have to condense into 1 minute. I mean, tell us the process of getting and whittling down to the core message.
Yeah, that's a great question. And the overriding philosophy I have is that people don't remember much. So no one
Mhm.
is watching your video with a pen and paper and like writing all the minutia you have down and like and like pausing and rewinding and writing. A lot of people make videos assuming that people are taking very thorough notes in real time. In fact, they're not. Um,
Wow.
and the way to think about it this way, like think of a hit song. So I really like The Weeknd. He did the Super Bowl last year. Blinding Lights hit. I've seen it. My kids love it. I've heard the song at least 150 times. I've seen the music video a bunch of times. Everyone has heard it. I'll do some singing. I know the chorus. Ooh, I'm blinded by the lights, and that's all I know. No, I can't no more. I was in the seven. I don't know the words.
See, Robin, you're not the only one.
I don't know the words. All I remember is the chorus, and
That's
I've
right.
listened to that song 150 times. I love The Weeknd. The Weeknd is like
Yeah.
famous. He played the Super Bowl, and I don't remember the words other than the chorus.
After
You know,
hearing it hundreds of times.
hundreds of
Beautiful.
times. You know the reach that guy has? It's crazy and insane. So what are the odds that the video you're making is going to be seen 150 times by just each person on the planet? and that
Yeah.
they're going to remember everything you said. It won't. People don't remember every single word. They remember choruses. They remember like single things, right? They remember like just like cliff notes. Like they don't remember the minutia. So that's actually quite liberating, actually. Um, I've seen Lisa's
I
notes.
want Lisa, I just want you to know I do too. That's
She's
why
the
I'm like,
one
"Ah,
person,
I do take notes." But
but
that's because 'cause we're students of that.
uh,
Look at this. I'm rolling over laughing. I get you guys. See, yep, yes. What a great example. Yes, that is a great example. He's bringing it home. And that's really what's gotta be, done.
yeah. So it's
Taking
like,
notes.
uh, so you have to write your scripts assuming that most people are not taking notes, that
Yeah, because they don't.
most people will actually not even watch your whole thing. Most people are going to watch around 30 to 40% of it.
Yep,
If you're lucky, um, like
that's true.
we get really excited when when we look at our ad, like view through rate or whatever, or like percent completed. If it has like a percent completed, an average percent completed of 55%, we're like ecstatic. We're like, oh, that's
Wow.
amazing. That's so high. That's a little over half the video. They're not remembering much. So you have to assume that there's disinterest and write against that. And when
Yes.
you do speak in like rallying cries, like speak in
Hook.
short like choruses. Think of the chorus, and everything should hit to one thing. Just say one thing. Now, how do you distill that down? What you have to do is um, uh, try to. Here's the little exercise I do is so my client will tell me about their complicated thing that's got all this nuance and like crazy things and like all these features and benefits. And then I like open up an email and I just try to write what they do in one sentence. Like they do this and just in very basic, I'm from New Jersey, so very New Jersey-ish way of talking, maybe some curse words, but like speak to how you would tell your friend what they do, like on the like, you would never talk like that in front of the client, because it's not proper enough, but like on a just a human basis, what do they do? And that's it. And that's your whole video is just that one sentence brought to life over and over and over. Just make a long 1 minute chorus. And that's it. And that's all you have to do and keep in mind, there's a thing called the customer journey. So like not
Yeah.
every video, like don't expect that if you make one video, people are going to do exactly what you want them to do. What you want to do is like lead them on a breadcrumb journey. So you make a video and maybe you want to get a click to a website. And once they get to the website, then maybe you want to get them to click this page. And instead of like having such high expectations of like, we're going to make $1 million off this thing. No, actually, all you're trying to do is just get everyone to just take one step forward.
One action.
Yeah, it doesn't have to lift everything. Video fits in an ecosystem of everything else you're doing.
Yes. Yeah. I love that you're saying this. I love this so much because one of the things is the thing that everybody, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, their watch time is everything. And so when I start, whether I start a show, whether I start a video, I always use the premise of websites. They are like, you have 7 seconds to grab their attention, and that's what you have before they're gone.
Yep.
So I spend a lot of time with the hook and the title. The title is what's going to grab them and make them push that button. And the hook is going to give me maybe 3 to 5 more seconds where I have to deliver so quickly that I can get them. I try to, when I write a book, when I write a script, when I do something, pull them through the information. I want to let you know that I also do something because I go through trainings. I'm like Lisa. I'm like, I sit with my notepad, I'll even review this show after the show. But I do it with that wonderful things that they have right now on YouTube and things like that, where you can speed the video up. What I
Mm.
found by doing that is if I just talk faster when I get into the video, if I just speed the way I talk and make it clear for me when I do a live, when I do any kind of video, just that, the hook and the speed by which I start will pull their attention for just a little bit longer. So I want to know in the beginning, it's like when I deliver a video, I want to give them the call to action as soon as possible. Like, here's the thing, boom, and give them the call to action. And that's why I practice on TikTok. I'm forcing myself to practice on that 15-second video. Because if I could get them to go to 15 seconds in my video, what do I want them to accomplish within that 15 seconds? Because the watch time issue is a big deal. And I'm wondering if you have any tips for us about the first 15 seconds of that video, or if the 15 seconds is the whole video.
Well, I think just the main thing is just assume disinterest, and
Yeah.
unless you're known and you're a known, like very famous, but most of us aren't. Assume
Like
disinterest
Gary
and
Vee.
fight against. Um, you have to earn every single second,
Yeah.
and you have to deliver value, and the value may be by giving information, by giving valuable information,
Mhm.
or by entertaining somebody.
Mhm.
um there People are watching this to get something out of it. I'll think of it like pizza. So my little metaphor is, so when I was having lunch with my client, and they did internal comms at a big insurance company. And so they do the intranet website, and they interview people, and they make,
Yeah.
they do, it's like a newspaper for this insurance company. And they have access, and it's a health insurance company, so they have stories about people overcoming severe disease, about their company donating money, and all volunteering. But they were like, Guy, you'll never guess the number one article that has ever appeared on our site. And I figured it would be something about, like, yeah, like some great story about someone getting cured, or,
Yeah.
and they're like, no, the number one article on their intranet by many magnitudes was an announcement that pizza would now be available in the cafeteria 5 days a week. And like, once I heard that, I was like, oh, people are so basic.
Yeah.
Like, you would think it's something about health and like saving humans. No, it's that pizza. Because you know what? People actually care about pizza. Like, we all pretend to care about volunteering and stuff. I mean, we do. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I get
Uh,
it.
but pizza is like, there's
What's
pizza
in it
available.
for me?
That's big. That
Yeah.
that's actionable, that is delicious, and people care about it. And so make your content as close to pizza as possible, knowing that it'll never reach how great pizza is, but meaning you need to make stuff that people will actually enjoy to consume, that they don't have to, it's not hard for them to understand what this thing is. So focus on delivering pizza for your particular audience, and you'll win. Whether that's 15 seconds, a minute, 3 minutes. I think as long as you're just like constantly asking yourself, like, why would anyone watch this? If they weren't forced to, which no one
Yeah.
is forced to watch
Yeah, we
anything.
all look at it as a piece of art, and we're not asking, "Why would they watch us?"
Why would
I
they?
always ask, "Why would they click off this? What about this first part of the intro, when I'm writing, would they close the book for?" I have to get them through the other pieces of the book. Beautifully said. I love that. I love what you're talking about the reality of anything. Most people, they buy the book, and then they have the book, but they never read the book.
Mhm.
And I want to talk about, it's like when we, thank you for that. Yeah. Yes, I agree with this. Now I can go easier on myself. It's like this is an art. We have people's attention is slow. And if you look at Reels or TikTok, if you look at those things, you can see your finger doing the same thing. Whip, whip, whip,
Oh,
whip.
yeah.
You're going through it at nauseum at this speed. I feel like sometimes that, yes, thank you. That is so real. Thank you. I agree with that. I think we're so often make things more complicated than we need to be. Yes. Yes, we do. And I think that one of the things that's so important about what we're talking about is, even though I do this show, once we do this show, every single show goes to our marketing department from this. Now, I have a big audience. And the thing about having a big audience is they know there's the replay. And even though there's the replay, the reason they like the replay, they can speed it up, they can go through this faster. But I find that when I do the 1 minute to 2 minute snippets, I break the show down into snippets because that snippet will get watched more than the entirety of this show. And that, involvement with people know there's going to be the replay. They can do that. They know that the information is there. People want to get to the point faster as well. And I noticed that when people make intro videos, their intro is so long. They're like, "Hi, welcome to the show." Yeah, people are gone then. You're like, "Hi, welcome to the Coffee Break Show. I'm Vickie Helm. I got Guy Bauer's on with me." And bam, you got to get in it or they're leaving. And I want to talk about the power of the intro part, the first part of the intro section. And this all to me affects how I write the script, why I have to stay with it. Because what you think is fascinating and interesting isn't what the receiver thinks is fascinating and interesting. And I would like some tips on, the hook you use and how fast you get to the point, or what do you ask your, corporate people to do so that you can get that hook, that interest up. How do you do that?
Two things. Think of game shows and old Beatles songs. So
I love that.
game
I
show.
love that. Game shows. Okay, I got to hear this guy. Come on.
So if you think about game shows, think about Jeopardy, right?
Mhm.
Jeopardy starts and they do a round. Then after the first round, then they meet the contestants. They deliver
Ooh.
instantaneous gameplay to the audience, right? They don't go like, "Hey, what's your name? What's your name? What's your name?" They do a round first,
Yeah.
get hooked on the game's going, then they
Yeah.
meet the contestants. Same thing with old Beatles songs. They would start with the chorus and it would go right into the chorus and then the verses and
I'm
stuff.
just thinking in my head, I just did a Hey Jude.
Yeah,
Hey
same thing.
Jude.
Dude,
Yeah.
right off the
Yeah.
bat. Um, so I I would just drop all preambles. I think at this point, no one really cares.
Yes.
Like they're just looking for the information they
They want
want.
the pizza.
Yeah, they just want the pizza, and that's why TikTok is so huge because it just goes right into it.
Yeah, it's
And
pizza delivery.
yeah, and I don't really care who's talking. I guess the side effect of that is that it's harder than ever to build an audience because you're not branding it. You're not going, hey, I'm Vickie Helm. I'm like you
This
have to
is
go
what I've done. This is who I
right.
am. This is where I've been. This is why you should be interested.
But
Yeah, it's
if
all of that pretense is gone.
right, but what you have to do is think like a game show and deliver the gameplay first, and then you'll get the brand once you keep delivering. I don't know if you do this on TikTok, but like, the first time I see somebody that's funny, I won't follow them. But maybe on the second or third time that they
I
get into
follow
my
them.
feed,
Me
then I'll
too.
follow. They
Yes.
have to prove themselves first, and
Yes.
then you get the follow. So it's just a reverse. You just got to think of a game show. You just got to deliver it first, then meet the contestants after a round.
Beautiful. I love how you explain this. And I actually watch TikTok because those people that are good on TikTok, that are, you know, clever and that are creative and know how to cook their audience, that's what I study. I study it for hours and hours because the object is to improve how they make the video so you know how to make your video. And I love that you can always learn. Now, I told you, for me, the 15-second video is definitely hard to, do this on the spot and quick. And I'm pretty much a fly by the seat of my pants video doer. I'm okay, now after about 4 or 5 years of having this show, and I used to do this show every single day. Now we just do it once a week. But doing the every single day, I never did the script. I just went live and let, that happen. And a lot of people on TikTok naturally do that. They can go live and go blah, 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 and then the video's done and they put it up there and they're doing 2, 3 videos a day. And I'm like, holy smoke, I'm happy to even get one done. Hey, Lori, nice to see you here again, my friend. My son loves TikTok. I like some of them, but others make my brain hurt, laugh out loud. So much of it is such short attention span stuff. And I think they're doing this on purpose, by the way. It makes me feel dumber for having watched it sometimes, but I agree that some of them are really great at capturing your attention. And that's the thing you study. I don't go to TikTok for entertainment. I am pretty old school. I like to hear somebody's message. I like to hear their delivery. I am one of those people who will watch the video to the end. I am one of the people who take notes, but this is my industry. This is how I write books. This is how I meet people. And I want to talk about, though, there's a difference when we're looking at something on TikTok and we're making a branding message. We're making a corporate message. We're getting that corporate message out. And there's so much that Guy has gone over. We've talked about scripts. We've talked about hooks. We've talked about length. We've talked about watch time. We have talked about so many things because the genre of video, it used to be like when I was a kid, there were commercials and movies and TV. That there was sitcoms, commercials, and TV. Those are the 3 types of videos that the average person watched. Now we have everything from YouTube ads to Super Bowl ads to daily 15-second ads to everything about this genre is expanded and scaled out. It is now a science, in my opinion. And I believe that if you're going to get a video out, you will benefit most when you hire people like, is it Umalt? Umalt?
Umalt, you got it.
Umalt. Isn't it? That's a German name. Didn't you name it after a band or something like that? What,
Uh,
Umalt?
no, it's like uses the umlaut that heavy metal bands use.
Yeah.
No, it's just an
That's
abstract name. Yeah, if I could go back, I would change the name, but
but I mean that the kind of experience to slow down your thinking. And right now I'm trying to bleed the guy for everything that we can get right now, because it's important, if you're going to learn how to do this, to actually get to the point where you're learning and discovering how to do a 1-minute video, how to do a documentary, how you pick your hook, how you do your script, how to do a feature film. I mean, all of it it's such a fascinating thing. And I loved what he said. Well, I started in 7th grade and I made this thing and it impressed everybody. And thus it was kind of a hobby. And to turn that hobby into a profession after, doing commercials for, a couple of decades professionally, and then starting your own company professionally, and being in there, he's got 12 years under his belt just being an entrepreneur with it, plus 20 years prior to that. I'm giving your age away.
thank you.
But when you have that kind of experience, you've seen every kind of attitude, every kind of script, every kind of mistake. You've watched the evolution of the industry happen. You've watched the technology and the evolution of the technology in the industry happen. You've watched all the software happen. It's like, to get this kind of experience from anybody who's like, hi, I'll do your videos and I'm really good at render forest. And you have to be in the industry to know what that is. But this is really somebody who's got so much experience that I think it's important, if you're choosing someone to make a video, would you rather choose somebody who's really new at it, or somebody who's got decades of experience, knows everything about the industry? And listen, if you're driving in your car, relax. We put the in the show notes how you can get a hold of him. And I want you to tell me a little bit about the kind of clients you're looking for that you do videos for right now. Let's go out and get this guy some business right now. Tell me how you do that.
Well,
If you're
thank you, Vickie.
listening, it'll be in the show notes, everything, so you can get a hold of Guy.
Well, I need to hire you for our marketing.
I do my marketing for my company, though. Don't
Uh,
worry, we're gonna have marketing pieces for you. We'll splice this piece up and put it right out. Make that show note this time sequence for me, please, so we can make him a piece of marketing as a gift. Go ahead.
yeah, we're looking for. I mean, our favorite clients to work with are marketers inside B2B brands. The more complicated, the better. The more you think your marketing puzzle, your message is kind of like impossible to solve, bring it. Um,
Right.
Typical size of our clients are like, I would say, mid market, upper mid market to like enterprise level. But that being said, we work with small businesses too. Um, and the main thing we're looking for is bravery. I think,
I love it.
um, yeah. So the clients who get the most value out of us take calculated risks with us. They do go out on a limb. Either they're CMOs or VPs or even marketing directors, but they are fed up with the way things are normally done, and they're willing to take a risk. And so that's the main thing that we need out of our clients is kind of bravery and trust.
Beautiful, and I wanna talk about this. We're getting towards the end of the show and everything else, but I wanna say this to all the video people out there, and if you're transitioning like Lori is, who has been a professional photographer for decades, I think she's got as much experience as you are, and you're like, "I'm moving into video right now because video is so lucrative, it's so important right now," and, great what a great compliment to what you're already doing now, Lori. But here's the thing, just because you listen to this show doesn't mean you are going to suddenly be good at what you're doing. You want to master your craft, and mastering your craft takes time. Mastering your craft takes that 10,000 hours. And you can hire somebody who's inexpensive, or you can hire somebody that's mastered their craft, that has more than 10,000 hours in it. And the quality and the quantity and the ability for that video to reach that audience is going to be solely on who you're hiring and why you're hiring. To me, I've hired cheap people and I've gotten really cheap work. And I've hired expensive people and I've gotten the magic that I want from the video and the lead and the results that I want from there. And I want to tell you something right now, video has seems like an easy thing to do, but to master something for your corporation, video is an investment. It's not a marketing thing. It's not something that's short or we got to do something. It's an asset investment that you absolutely have to have if you truly want to scale your message, if you want to scale your brand, if you want to scale what you're doing. This is an investment. Make the investment, make sure that you are looking for the qualities in the video company that Umalt has. Now, Guy here is somebody that's already there. I told you this is the coffee break show. We only bring the best of the best experts on, and we're talking about this. And to me, this is the power of working with somebody. If you're going to make the investment, don't you want to make it in something that's going to win for you? And that's the point of video right now. And if you're learning video right now, remember it happens over time, it doesn't happen overnight. And so, the last thing I want to leave you with here is, Guy, what do you have to say to somebody who's just beginning right now? What would you tell them? It's like, hi, I'm just starting out in video right now and I'm young. Let's say it's somewhere between late teens and early 20s,
Yeah,
or
I'd
maybe
say
even younger.
um, just start making stuff, and you're just gonna just do it a bunch, and you're gonna make a bunch of terrible things, and then every now and then you'll make something good, and then just don't give up. I've made definitely more bad things than I've made good things, and
Me too.
I learn way more off the bad ones. And don't see it as failure, just see it as like, oh, now I know not to do that. And I was on a shoot last week where it was a 3-day shoot in Austin, and we were behind schedule, and we were shooting in a cave, and basically all the years of making mistakes gave me the ability to make quick decisions in the moment.
Mm.
And it's all off of the, the the failures, which they're really not, that give you the insight to then, be a professional. And you're right, you need 10,000 hours. So I would just say, just do it. Just make a bunch of stuff. Don't get discouraged. You're going to make a bunch of terrible things that no one's going to like, that only your mom will like. And some of the stuff that I've made, my mom doesn't even like. She's like, like, so
Good
get
effort,
prepared.
son.
Yeah, like, well, you tried, that's so, and don't be discouraged. I mean, like, if you look at Tom Brady, it's not that Tom Brady only wins. Tom Brady loses a lot. And for a lot of the games, he's always behind. And Tom Brady doesn't get discouraged when he's behind. He just doesn't quit. And that's what makes
That's
him a
right.
champion.
You go.
So you just can't quit. And the other thing is, yeah, it may not be for you, and I guess don't feel bad if you do want to quit. Like, don't feel like a loser or whatever. But um, yeah, you need to just make
Keep
a bunch of
going.
mistakes. Yeah.
I love this, Lori. That's how I practice photography too. I take so many pictures. Out of about 100 or 1,000 of them, I'll find that magic one that I truly love. I got to say that's true. If you've ever been on a photo shoot with Lori, Lori will shoot so fast. She's like, "Brrrt, brrrt, brrrt," and she gets the finite. But I love your work. Guy, I want to say it has been so much fun to have you on the show today. And I have learned heaps, and I'm so thankful for you to be on the show. And I just want to say next week, always on this show, we always have fabulous people talking about fabulous stuff. And I just want to say one more thing. Nobody gets out of here without listening to the music. I'll see you guys next week.